Mesechta Makos, Daf Tesvav Amud Aleph. We're starting from the second to the last line on Yudalad Amud Beis. Amud Rabba Bachana, Amud Rabba Yochanan. Rabba Bachana said in the name of Rabba Yochanan. Even according to the Tanoim who hold on a lav anit glase, you don't get malchus. Why? Because the lav anit glase is the asay is correcting the lav, so you don't get malchus. Lamashal. It says loy six. Yeah, we had it before, but this is Dalet Amud Beis. So the halacha is that some lav that's correct by say lamashal. It says that you shouldn't leave anything from the karbanos. Let's say sidu v'manat break. But anoisa, you have to burn it. So you have loisei sidu is the loisase. So you have on the loisase. But there's a correction. If you do leave over, you can burn it. Or loisigsa, you should not steal. But you can correct v'heishav hagzela. So then there's no malchus. Allah should need to. That's Kolzman, that it's a lois lav shenikla asay, that you cannot come to the asay unless you committed the lois asay. L'mashal, you can't return a gzela unless there was a lois sigzel first. You need a lav to happen first, and then you can have a heshav sagzela. Or the same thing with noisa, that it should be burned. Yudalad Amud Beis, the last line. Or the same thing with noisa. You have to leave it over. It has to be left over till the morning, in order to say you have to burn. In order to burn it, so the loisas. In order to do the assay, you have to have the lav first. How about if you had an assay that came before the lav? It's not connected. It's an assay on its own. Oh, so the Gemara is going to give examples. Lamashal, somebody's ma'anas a woman. Somebody rapes a woman, the din is lois isha. He has to stay with her. Then you have you're not allowed to send her adoilam. You're not allowed to send kol yom lois shalcha kol yom. And then it says you're not allowed to send. Then it comes the loisi is that say. Then comes the lois say, lois shalcha kol yom. Right? The love. So you have that say. First, it's independent. The asay is loisi leisha. Loisi shachal kol yamav is telling you if he divorced her, right? Then, if he divorced her, then
maybe that's not a misasay. Maybe they're just an eighth of favor.
No, that's the pasuk is saying is as a lav and asay. Or you have the Gemara is going to. Or it says somebody was telling me yishalchu. It says in the pasuk that you should vishalchu min hamachna, send them out. Every zav tzarua, you have to send them out of the camp. And then it says that's the asay, and then it says v'lo yitames machneim. So you see, the asay is not totally in the in the lois asay. So he says if it's a kol lois asay shekadam asay, any lois asay that you had to asay first, like in love, then he does get malchus. Now turn to the next page. So they said to Rabbi Yochanan, the other Tanoim, they said, who heard this in Rabbi Yochanan's name, Amarta, they asked him, did you say? They met up with Rabbi Yochanan and said, did you say if the asay is independent and comes first, and then comes the lois asay?
Why are they questioning what makes sense?
So did you say this, Rabbi Yochanan? He says no. So the truth is, he did say it. But he had charata. That's the pshat.
So what can you say had charata?
He didn't. He said, Omar Rabba, look, Rabba confronts him. He says, Alakim, I'm telling you, Allah Shashua, he tells Rabbi Yochanan, listen, Abra, you said it. You said he gets malchus if the asay comes before the lav. And not only that, I'm telling you, it makes sense what you said originally. I have a pasuk with the Braisa together that proves that what you say is right. Uksiva v'tanina. There's a pasuk together with a Mishnah, meaning Ksiva in the Torah, it's one raya. Ksiva in the Mishnah, in the pasuk, it says, what does it say first? Vishalchu min hamachna, kol tzeru v'chol zav v'chol tomei lenefesh. It says, send out of the camp anyone who's a metzora or somebody who's a zav, anybody who's tamei, has to go outside the machna. V'lo yitames machneim. That's the asay vishalchu. And then v'lo, don't be metame your camps. That's a lav. So you have first the asay. And first, go out, and then it says, "Vishalchu min hamachna." That's first go out, and then it says loy sitam, and then it says the loy sasa. So you see, Antonina, we learned in the Mishnah, in our Mishnah before, in Yud Gil Amud Aleph, Abol Hamikdash Tamei. Somebody who enters the Beis Hamikdash while he's Tamei, he gets Malchus. Even though what came first? The Asay, Vishalch Min HaMachna. Then came the Lo Yisaseh, that Lo Yitama is Machneim. And nevertheless, the Mishnah says you get Malchus. Elamai Time
Wasn't it going if you told me to make the leader, she get killed?
You get Krisis. Yeah. But you get Malchus. It's one of the cases, Krisis, but you get Malchus also. You get both. In fact, your mother. Yeah. In fact, your mother. Elamai Time debate. Why Taka? Did he have Charat over here? Why did you have Charat? So it says
How does he correct what he did when he came into the Machna as a Talmudic person? Is that corrected?
It is, because if you became, let's say, Tamei in the Machna, right? So we Shalcho. No, so if he wasn't there, Kedei Hishtachavo, in the Machna, from when he became Tamei, he goes out, he doesn't get Malchus. I'm sorry, that's the way to correct it. He shouldn't get Malchus.
No, what the Pashat Pshat is, Jesus said, if you go in as a Talmudic person, then if you be a Shalchus Min HaMachna, comes first, right?
Vishalch Min HaMachna comes first, right?
Correct what he did.
Sometimes it corrects it. If you became Tommy in the Machna,
if you do Xela, so if you give back to Xela, you correct what it is.
Here, so I'm giving you a case. I'm telling you, the halacha is that if he became Tomei in the Machna, in the Beis Hamikdash, if he doesn't remain the time of Kedei Hishtachava, and he leaves, it's a correction. Here, I said.
Was he not sheer that he should become Tomei?
No, that's Vishalchu. That he should be. If he became Tomei, he should get Malchus. He says Befedish here. Right? You're going to Nicholas Adel Mikdash Betara. He went into the Beis Hamikdash while he was tired. And he became Tomei while he was inside. He has to leave the Beis Hamikdash right away. It says so. I remember such a thing. What?
He did the law first.
Yeah, but in the Torah it says they are saved first.
It says
no, so it tells you that you get Malchus. But you get Malchus if it happened to be the reverse. If he was Tomei and then he went into the Machna, then he's going to get Malchus. So it's affected the why Taka did he retract? After the one, Yechon says he retracted the kasha. He had a kasha. Oinus. In the case of a man that rapes a woman, the time we learned in the Braisa, Oinus Shagidish. The halacha is Oinus. If he was manus, he raped a woman, the loisi Elisha. He has to stay and get married to her, and he has to remain with her. And it says,
probably she wasn't a married woman.
No. So it's Psula. He was manus. Yeah, the first time. Psula. So it says, he has to get married to her, and then it says, Lo yuchal shalcha kol yamav. He can never send her away. Look what it says. Imisol. Imisol. No, Imisol. If it's a yisol, she can koyin. So then and he divorced her. He's not gonna get Malchus. Why? Because Matzeh. He could be. He still could return to her. So
remarry her
a second time.
Yeah, sure. Matzeh Yiddish says, I guess, a mitzvah. You know, if you wanted to perform the mitzvah, you divorce and take her right back. It's a big mitzvah.
I understand.
I don't know if you want to do that. But okay, it says. Vein Leike. Yeah. That's it, Kanyas. Okay, Vein Leike. It says, and he doesn't get Malchus if he takes her right back.
Right.
Im Koyin, but if it's a Koyin and he divorced her, he cannot take her back.
Yeah.
So Leike, he gets Malchus. Vein Amas, because he cannot take her back. A Koyin cannot marry a Gerusha. So if it's a Yisol, you said, if he takes her back, no Malchus. Amai. Here was, what was first? The Asay came first. 1 minute. No, but what was first? The Asay, Loisi Elisha.
No.
And then came the Loisase, Loyuchal Shalcha Kol Yamav.
Yeah.
And we said that Rabbi Yochanan held. Rabbi Yochanan says the reason why I retracted, because if I would have said that he deserves Malchus, then this Braisa should have said he's Chai Malchus. Lilki. he should get malchus. Amai. Lois haseh shekidame haseyu. It's a case of lois haseh, which the haseh came before it. Bililki, let him get malchus if you say. Obviously, why is he not getting malchus? Because I say that comes before love, right? Is not doesn't get malchus, not like I originally thought. Ula says no, forget about that. I'm telling you that really Rabbi Yochanan holds he gets malchus because we move Rabbi Yochanan from here. You have a stira for two braises. One braisa by Migdash, it says if the Asay came first, and then came the Lois Hasei, if he comes into the Migdash, he gets malchus. And here it says in the braisa you don't get malchus. How are we going to answer it? So Ula says really Rabbi Yochanan holds you do get malchus if Hasei comes before. Here by Yonis there's a special limud that turns it into a lav shanitik lasei. How? It says lo yem loisi leish b'Yonis. Let the Torah not write that say that he has to marry this woman who he raped. Let him learn it out from Meitzi Shemra. All he did is he spoke bad. That she's nishkim psula. He lived with her and it was not a psula. The Torah says, you said that. You have to stay. You made a Meitzi
So if you
Shemra.
see a woman that you like, they want to marry, you just be a Meitzi Shemra, and then you gotta marry. Then you can get married her.
No, it's up to her. What we're talking about, he married her, and he was Meitzi Shemra that she wasn't a psula, and he was looking to get out of the marriage. We say, no, that's it. You're Meitzi Shemra, you're stuck. Says and over there he didn't even do a mice. He didn't rape her. He was married to her. He just spoke words. Oines, where he did an action, he raped her like Kol Shekain, that he should have to be married. He should have to get married to her. Lama Nama. So what do I need? Loisi Elisha by Meitzi Shemra. I can learn it out from Makav Chayma from Oines.
No, if I can't.
I'm sorry. What do I need by Oines? We can learn it out from Makav Chayma from Meitzi Shemra. Says and if you cannot refer to the case of before Gedushin, because by Oines already says Loisi Elisha, so it goes before Gedushin. Then you have to refer to a new case for after he divorced her. That if he divorces her, right, and he takes her back to tell us he's not going to get malchus because the second Loisi Elisha that we took from Meitzi Shemra that wasn't needed is coming to tell us that it's going to be considered as a lav shenitik lasei. The second Loisi Elisha is serving as asei after the Gedushin, after he divorces by Yonis. No, by Meitzi Shemra you don't need it.
Meitzi Shemra is the first, right?
Right, you didn't need a Loisi Elisha because you can learn it out for Yonis. And now by Yonis, no.
Meitzi Shemra, you didn't do a mice. You say you can't send her away. So Yonis.
By Yonis, yeah, by Yonis for sure, correct. But it says Loisi Elisha by Yonis. So what are you going to do, Loisi Elisha by Yonis? Not before. Before the marriage, we know he has to marry her. If from Meitzi Shemra. So what are you going to use it for? Only for after, if he divorced her, and that makes it into a lav shenitik lasei. To tell us it's a lav shenitik lasei. You can't learn out Yonis from Meitzi Shemra with a kal v'chayma. By Meitzi Shemra, it's a stronger punishment. Not only does he pay, he gets malchus too. Like it says, yeah, it says v'yisu Isai. Yeah, that's malchus, and then it says v'anshu Isai with meya kesef. What? Yeah, v'anshu Isai meya kesef. So by Meitzi Shemra, you get a double whammy over there. Mashain can buy Oines. First of all, he only pays 50, if I'm saying correctly, and second of all, he doesn't get malchus. So how could you compare? My Meitzi Shemra is stronger. Don't tell me Meitzi Shemra is the weaker one, and we didn't need. But
why is that so?
That's a pussy by Meitzi Shemra. So Gemara Ella says, Gemara, you're right. Lo yama loisi Elisha b'Meitzi Shemra. You're right. Meitzi Shemra is the more stringent one. The Torah didn't have to write loisi Elisha by Meitzi Shemra. The league man, we should learn out Mainus for Mainus. Mainus is the more lenient one. Mainus, Shayna like a Mishal Madachinus doesn't get malchus. But it pays. Even though it's lenient, the Torah says, Elisha, he must marry her. Meitzi Shemra that gets not only does it pay, but a chap malchus eichet like kol came for sure. The Torah was machmir that he should have to stay married to this woman. So why does it have to say the loisi elisha by meitzi shama? If you don't need it for meitzi shama, because meitzi shama, you know he has to be married to her. You apply to einus. And if you cannot use it for before the Gedushin, because it already says by loisi elisha by einus. So today is the second loisi elisha meitzi shama will apply to einus after the Gedushin. Nayu in your lachrop will use it for after he divorces to turn it into alav shenik lasei. But you want to meitzi shama me'einus not like him. Meitzi shama from einus he can't either learn out meitzi shama with a kavachim from einus by the kilamifrach. I can tell you mala einus shkeinos ha'maisa. Einus is more chamor because he did an action. He physically raped her, so that's more chamor. The meitzi shama is just bedibur. What? Even though he doesn't get malchus, but he did a much worse act. He raped her. This is yours?
It became yours now.
Says the Gemara, for sure. So you shouldn't be able to learn out. You shouldn't be able to learn out meitzi shama from einus, because einus is more chamor. Einus is not the weaker one. He says, forget about the kavachema. How would I know meitzi shemra that he has to stay married to her? The Torah didn't have to say loisi elisha. All the Torah should have written is lo yuchal l'shalcha kol yama, because meitzi shemra he's already married. What happened? He got married, and then he wakes up in the morning. He says, "Oh, it's nishke pisula," but she was married, so I don't need the words loisi elisha there. He's already married. All you need is the love. Lo yuchal l'shalcha kol yama. Not to say loisi elisha. That say was already. They're married.
So you don't need the love.
You don't need to say loisi elisha. Loisi elisha. They're already married. That's all. Lo yuchal l'shalcha kol yama. That's all. What do I need? Loisi elisha. It's extra. Lama nama. So he may not even lebaitzi shama.
Maybe it means they have to treat her like a wife.
Oh, if he doesn't,
a civilized guy.
If you can't use it for meitzi shama, use it for einus as a second loisi elisha. If you can't use the loisi elisha lefanov like we said before, because we have loisi elisha once by einus, that goes for lefanov, and now we have an extra loisi elisha that we take from meitzi shama and we apply it. The midah tneyu linyan, you give it to another inyan. Tneyu inyan lacharav. So you give it for after they divorce to make it into Allah shenitin lasei. Why do you have to learn that it's going on einus? You could say that the meitzi shema, the loisi elisha, yitaka don't need a lefanav, but say you need it for lacharav. If a meitzi shemra was married and then he divorced her, then loisi elisha means he's not allowed to send her away. That's a lab, and the loisi elisha goes for after he divorces her, that he has to go back. If he takes her back, he won't be chayv malchus. Says Gemara, say it goes on la'achar of the day. For after by meitzi shemra, don't apply to einus. Apply to meitzi shemra. The loy lucky that in such a case, if he divorced, then he takes it back. He's not going to be chayv malchus. And if you want to inachanami, you're right. V'asi einus v'gama minei, and let us learn einus. So now is the shaila. How are we going to learn by einus that he doesn't get malchus if he divorces her and takes her back? How do we know that he's not going to get that he doesn't get malchus? Because you're using it for meitzi shemra. So how do you know by einus will have the same din that if he's megadish and that takes her back, he's not going to get malchus? Says Gemara, we all see einus v'gam minei, because einus will learn from meitzi shemra, just like by meitzi shemra, if he divorced her and then takes her back, he's not going to be chayv malchus. So to by einus, if he'll divorce her and takes her back, he won't be chayv malchus. In fact, Gemara, my government, how? Which way are you going to learn out einus from meitzi shemra? How are you going to learn out? Say the same by meitzi shemra. How are you comparing it? So you want to eat b'mamatzin. I'm sorry, b'kal v'chayma. One second. We say, either you can learn it out. Either you're going to want to learn it out with a kavachim, or you're going to want to learn it out by comparison.
No, the Gemara
Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. It's impossible. Either a kavachim or a mamatzino. Says the Gemara. It's not possible. That they're not similar, and you can't make a kavachim. Meitzi Shemra, he didn't do action. It was bedibur. So it's a total different animal. So you can't compare it. And number two, what are you making a kavachema? You're making a kavachema madach by Meitzi Shemra. Meitzi Shemra is loikum mishalim. That's why I'm going to say. I'm sorry. I'm going to say the reason why there you don't get malchus is because it's lenient. It was only bedibur, and the reason why by this I'll say he gets malchus is because he did a ma'isa.
Don't we have a cloud that we don't give malchus if there's a... Yeah.
Right, from a kavachem you can't learn out. So you want to come. So he says, even according to Mandam that says you'll learn out from a kavachem. Not everybody holds like that. Okay. Even according to one that says Ein Shemin you can't. It's not a kavachem because Meitzi Shemra, you can't learn out Einis, which is you could say is more lenient from the chema, or you could say Einis. I'm sorry, Meitzi Shemra is more lenient. Because it was only bedibur, so we'll say, okay, we won't give him malchus. Oinus that he was a meiser, I'm going to say you should get malchus, and they're not similar, because this one is dibur, this one is meiser. El Amadava. Yeah, El Amadava says, you know how he's going to learn it out from the extra words. Kol Yomov. It says Lo Yuchel Shalcha, and it says the extra word Kol Yomov. What do you have to say? Kol Yomov Lo Yuchel Shalcha, which means automatically ever. What are you saying? The Kol Yomov. So Kol Yom that he has all his life to take her back. As long as he has all his whole life to take her back, he's not Chai Malchus. Because the Kol Yamav is telling you it exists even after that Asay of Kol Yamav. I mean, that Asay of Kol Yamav, we're going to consider it like Asay, or. I'm sorry. Like I say, Kol Yamav is Amay V'Hasei. He could, even if he divorced her,
If you get married, you can't. Go get it back.
Kol Yamav means that he has to get married to her. But if he
married somebody else, you can't.
if he married somebody else, he could. If she married somebody else, if he married somebody else, he can't either take it back. No, but he's not. He didn't bring down this case. It means as long as he could, as long as he can perform the assay. If he cannot perform the assay, then it's right away malchus. Either he made a nade that he's not going to have enough from her. No, it doesn't work. I don't know. Anyway, so it's so this assay that it's constant that he could always fulfill it even after they get divorced. And that's why Dafke by Oynes, there's a special limud that it makes it into like a lav shenikla say. V'chein ki asa Rabin, so too when Rabin came from Eretz Yisrael to Babel, Omar Rabbi Yechon himself said in the answer of Rava, Kol Yoma ba'amoid v'hasek. Kol Yoma means that it stands the whole time, that he can always go back to her. And if he goes back to her, he's no more even on the lav. Right? Amalei Papa Rabba. How could you say that? We learned in the 2 dafim ago that what type of a lav gets malchus? The lav that's written next to the pasuk of malchus. Which lav is written next to the pasuk of malchus? Chasima. It says that lo yisachsim shor b'disha. You're not allowed to muzzle a shor while it's threshing the floor, while it's plowing. So that's, and then it says in the pasuk, it comes after the pasuk of malchus. So we say that malchus applies to what kind of a lav, like chsima. But over there, chsima is without a asay. So if it's without a asay, the only one that can get malchus if it's a clean lav without any asays involved. Amalei. So the Gemara is asking, how could you say that he gets malchus on a asay that comes before a lav? Amalei. So Rabbi said back to Rapapa, Mishum the Kasbei Achmana asay, he said Migra Gara. Because the Torah added asay, it should become any worse? Faket, there's asay talking about this topic also. It makes it more chamor. For sure it should get malchus. But really? If so, we know lav shenit asay never gets malchus, and there's asay Lav shenikn la'asei nami leimer say mishum the kasbei achmon asei. You say to Mika Gara. Say the same thing because the Torah added asei. It should become worse. So meaning because the Torah wrote asei is a worse paket. It's the same in chamor. Why are you saying by Lav shenikn la'asei he shouldn't get malchus? If you, according to your theory that you say that asei makes it even more chamor that it should be chayv in malchus. Says Gemara, that type of asay, l'natuki lavu dosa. It's coming to uproot the lav. He's coming to correct the lav. Whatever lav he did, by doing the asay, he uprooted the lav. So there's no more lav here. There's no more malchus. That's the type of asay that will say he won't get malchus, because asay that uproots a lav, but a stam asay, which is written on the same topic, makes him more reason to be chayv malchus. Says Gemara,
So if you did it in Beirut, and then we tell you a tikkun, so therefore that makes the lav stronger.
no, if it's a tikkun, it's written as a tikkun, then we say it was written as a tikkun to uproot the lav. But if it's not written in that way as a tikkun, that
How's
meaning
it written then as well?
you wrote hasei first, and then you wrote the lav. It wasn't written as a tikkun.
So what's the
So
purpose
obviously,
of writing the lav? The asay
sometimes the hasei will correct it, but it's not meant for the correction, so it makes it more chamor. In fact, Yomara Hadnichel Yama, this that the Yomara when that answered before in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, that a einish that divorces is not going to be chayiv malchus because he's always able to take her back. That's only Laman Yama Bitlay Bilay Bitlay. That's only according to the one that says that a person doesn't get malchus only if he's mevatel dasei. How is one mevatel dasei? That he says and makes a neder, I'm not allowed to have enough, so he's never allowed to take her back. Makes a neder, he's not going to have enough from her. He can never take her back. So then he was mevatel dasei. That's when he gets malchus. But kolzman loy bitlay,
He'll live with her and I don't have another.
he can't even live. He's not allowed to be next to her. He says. So then he was mevatel dasei of ever being able to take her back. So then he gets malchus. But loy bitlay, kolzman loy bitlay de asay. He could always take her back, and he's not going to be chayav malchus. But according to Mandam that says alav hanit glasay, it doesn't work like if he wasn't mevatel dasay, he's always considered as alav shanit glasay. It doesn't work that way. This Mandam holds that kima v'loy kiblei, meaning kima v'loy kima. If she comes to Bezdin, my husband wants to divorce me. So the Bezdin tells him, you got to take her back. So if he doesn't take her back, right then and there, he gets malchus. It's not. He has all the time in the world to take her back. She takes him to Bezdin, he wants to divorce me, and she says, he's not right now. Makayim good, not Makayim, chaps the malchus. That's it.
So what did she accomplish?
That he has to stay married to her right away.
But he got malchus.
No, he'll know never to try this again. So what are you going to say according to one kimu like kimu? Because now it's not something that's say that can correct the law the whole time. It's right on the spot. Yeah, she takes him the best, and that happens the right away. It says, he says, for what reason do we need this teretz of kol yom b'amad v'haser to tell us that according to Rabbi Yochanan, he says that a lav shekad mulasei, a lav that had asay first, you talk get malchus. But by Eines it's different because it says kol yamav, which means it's asay for the rest of life. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan said to that Tana that he learned this brayso in the of lav shanit asay. He says today he learned this brayso bitloi chayev if he was mevatel asay. He says, I cannot ever, making a neder, I'll never see you again or whatever. So he can never take it back. So that's the only time he'll get malchus. But if he wasn't mevatel asay, it's in the open, he can always take it back. He's going to be potter. The Tana Kamed Rabbi Yochanan says the Tana that learned this brayso before Rabbi Yochanan, he said, Kol mitzvahs lo yisaseh, sheyesh b'hem kum asay, any lav shenitin lo asay, kiyim asay, if he fulfills the asay shaba potter, then he's going to be potter for malchus if he fulfills the asay. Bitul asay, but if he was mevatel, and he says he's made a neder, he'll never be able to be next to her, meaning he can never take her back, then chayv will be chayv malchus. But if you look at the words, he uses first kiyim. Kiyim is the lashon of the second mandama. The second mandama says you have to be mekayim it right on the spot when she takes him to Bezdin. And bittul means no, even if you're not mekayim it, as long as you have a chance to be mekayim it, as long as you're not mevatel it, you know malchus. So in fact, that's what the Gemara is asking. Which lashon is it? I'm like my comment. What are you saying? This guess doesn't make sense. Kima say potter. So he says it's memanusha. Kiyum, if he fulfills that, say he's potter. Loi kiyum, if he didn't fulfill that, say he's chayim. Beetle is a different concept. But he says, but if you're learning Beetle, you have to learn both both ways. Side the potter you have to learn as Beetle, and side the chiyuv you have to say loy Beetle. If you're learning it as Kayim, you have to say by loy kiyum say Shabbat is Batel, not loy Beetle. Says the Gemara. So like Beetle Chayim, loy Beetle potter. That's how it should. But you have to learn one gesa, either all Beetle or all Kiyum. You want to learn this price of bitla with loy bitla. You have to learn if bitla he's going to be chayiv, loy bitla will be potter. That's how Rabbi Yochanan learns. That's the girsa. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, no, the girsa is kimoi. If it was mekayim the tanai, then meaning if he fulfilled the asay, then he's potter from the malchus. But like kimo, but if he didn't fulfill, he's chayiv. What are they arguing about? They're arguing about Asar Safik. What is Asar Safik? So we have our case that he says like this: at the time of the Asar, they warned the husband, you have to take back. You cannot send away. And they warned him. They warned him. Don't divorce him. Don't divorce your wife. He divorced his wife, but we can't. If it's Asar Safik, he could always take her back. When they warned him, don't divorce your wife, at Kolzman he could take her back. So you can't say there was a warning. He doesn't get malchus because the whole time he could take her back. So one mandama holds that if he, even though at the beginning it wasn't asar vadai because he won, but it wasn't a warning right before he did the aveda because he could always take her back. So it's called asar safik.
What is that?
That don't divorce her. Okay, he warns her, don't divorce her.
Where does it say that in the title?
It says that lo yuchel gasha. Gasha, yeah. U'masa ba'asar safik lo yishmasa. And one says no, asar safik is not considered as asar because he says the moment if you give asar safik, it has to be asar vada. Asar safik cannot be asar. So even though later on he doesn't take her back, he's not going to be chayv malchus because it wasn't considered as asar. According to one mandama, even though he warned her before, and later on he doesn't marry her. Let's see, he says he makes a neder later, and he cannot marry her. We say the original asar, even though it was a suffix, because we weren't sure if he's going to take her back or not. But according to one mandama, let's say Rabbi Yochanan says asar suffix is asar. So therefore, even though later on he makes a neder, he's not taking her back. That first asar that he gave is considered as asar. But according to the second mandama, that's not asar. Even though he doesn't take it back, he's not going to be chai because it was only asar suffix, and he holds asar suffix. It's not asar. So he say, this is what he's explaining. Rabbi Yochanan that are arguing in what the girsa is. Bitlei was Rabbi Yochanan, and the Shlakish says the girsa was kimu v'lei kimu. So he says they go according to their shita, meaning that Rabbi Yochanan holds asar suffix. It's considered as asar. So therefore, even if he was bitlei, if he was mevatel dasei, he'll still be chayiv. When he gave him the asar, it wasn't a sure asar because it could at that time he was able to take her back. But Rabbi Yochanan says it's asar. The Shlakish says I can't learn like him because every lav shenit lasei is going to be considered as asar safik because when he won he could always take her back. So he says such asar is not asar, and even if he doesn't take her back, he's mevatel in a way that he cannot take her back. He's still not going to be chayiv malchus because there was no asar vadei. Where do we see that? The Hitman that we learned. He makes a shua, I'm going to eat that I'm going to eat this bread today. And the day went by, and he didn't eat it. Rabbi Yechon both say he doesn't get malchus. Rabbi Yechon says he doesn't get malchus. Yishum to have lav shein by ma'aser, because it's no action. It's a lav shein by ma'aser. He just didn't eat it. If he didn't eat it, that's not a ma'aser. The whole lav shein by ma'aser ain't like him lav. So, but mitzad asah safik, it is asah. He would be chayiv. But the only reason why he's not chayiv because there was no ma'aser. He didn't need it, and that's a lav shein by ma'aser. Ishlakish ain't like him should have asah safik. Ishlakish says he was able to eat it at the time when they warned him. That at the time that he swore that he's not going to, that he's going to eat this bread, he had a whole day to eat it. Who says he wasn't going to eat it? So it's asah safik. At the end, he didn't eat it. You can't be mechayiv him because when they gave him the warning, it wasn't hasah avad, and he says that's not hasah. And in order to punish somebody, you have ein oinshin el kein mazir. You have to warn. The whole hasah safik loishma hasah. Since at the beginning it was only hasah safik, it's not considered as hasah. So therefore, the Shlakish says that he's not going to be chayiv malchus because originally the hasah was a safik. Why did Rabbi Yechon have to say it's a lav shein by ma'aser? Because if it was mitzad hasah safik is hasah, he would get malchus. That's why he had to learn, and it's a lav shein by ma'aser. That's why he's not getting malchus.